One of the most interesting cars here at the Paris Motor Show is, of course, the Opel Adam. Now, it'll go on sale early next year in the UK for around £11,000, and of course it will be called a Vauxhall. Now, if you have a look on the stand, you'll see there's quite a few various different versions. And the reason for that is that, well, one of the key things with this car is that there's going to be loads of different personalisation options. And apparently there's so many that you can have 1 million different combinations of car. Okay then, let's talk about the design, shall we? Personally, I quite like it. The front, do you know what? It reminds me ever so slightly of the previous generation Porsche Cayenne, the way these lights are very much on top of the body. What do you think? Just a little bit, doesn't it? Now, if you come down the side, you'll notice here this effect, this crease line which runs around the door handle, pretty much like on the Astra GTC. That's a nice touch. Follow it round to the rear, and you know what? I'm not quite so convinced by this rear. I don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me. I have to say I'm quite liking the design of the interior. Now, this contrasting dash effect, it's very much like on a Citroën DS3 or a Fiat 500, and the quality, we've got soft touch materials here on the top of the dash. It does feel good, and there's lots of shiny chrome about the place, and it does make the car feel pretty special. We've got a 7-inch touchscreen down there. Now, you can connect your mobile phone to it, of course, and apparently you can play movies from your phone onto that screen, so you've got something to do while, I don't know, you're waiting for your friends to turn up. Now, the thing that really stands out for me is one of these options here. Look at the roof. You can change the pattern in the roof lining, and this one has sparkly nighttime sky. Look at those little stars, a bit like on a Rolls-Royce Phantom Coupe. Unfortunately, the similarities with the Rolls-Royce Coupe kind of end when you get into the back, because obviously it's not quite as roomy. In fact, I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed with space here in the back. I was hoping for it to be bigger than a Mini, but it doesn't feel like it is. It's pretty cramped. This seat is in my normal driving position, and well, I couldn't go particularly far like this. Look, I've got no room at all. And back here, you notice that the quality of the materials aren't quite up to the scratch of what they're like in the front. The Adam is based on a slightly shorter version of the platform which will underpin the next Corsa. It's actually wider than a Mini, which should help road holding, but let me just check something out. Yeah, unfortunately, it's got quite unsophisticated rear suspension. It doesn't have multi-link like the Mini, so I'm not sure whether it's going to handle quite as well. Also, the engines aren't quite as sophisticated as the Minis. You've got a normal 1.2 litre petrol and a 1.4 litre petrol from launch, both with 5-speed manuals. However, a more sophisticated 3-cylinder small turbo engine will be offered at a later date with a 6-speed manual. And actually, while we're at the back, shall we have a quick look at the boot? There you go, you get in by pressing the badge. Well, do you know what? It's not too bad, really, for a car of this size. So then, what do I think of this little car? Well, I really quite like it, actually. My only problem, I think, is the naming strategy. Right, the 3 trim levels, they're called Jam, Slam and Glam, which just sounds a bit naff. And then there's the name of the car itself. Now, I know it's nice, good tribute to name the car after the company's founder, and it worked really well with the Ferrari Enzo. However, Mr. Opel's first name wasn't quite as cool as Mr. Ferrari's. Oh well.